which is the association. We have a great echo. Does that work for you? Fantastic. Is the Association for the UK's Quantum Industry. So I'm going to be talking about a number of things. I'll be giving a little bit of a snapshot of the landscape. I'll be talking about the UK strategy, and finally, actually, in an unannounced two-hander, I'll be inviting Geoff to come up and talk about the National Quantum Computing Centre. So UKQuantum's been around for about a year now. Actually, we've been in operation for a few years. Would you mind if you passed up my water for a moment? I'm just having a moment. Thank you. So we've been founded about a year ago, but actually the founding members had been working with each other for a few years before that, and leading into the UK's quantum strategy. So really our mission is to help work with UK businesses, help promote them internationally, and of course work with UK government in the development of and the delivery of the strategy. Now, just a quick snapshot of the UK's landscape. I'm actually going to focus on the last of those bullets because we're really proud of the National Quantum Technologies Programme. It has delivered the UK in terms of being third in the world for impact of research, second in terms of the number of quantum companies, second in terms of the amount of private investment that has been raised. But really what we're proud about is how tight our community actually is. As you'll see, we have about 180 quantum organisations that are collaborating across, well, collaborative R&D, and that is with our funding agency, Innovate UK, but also 140 partners working with our academic research hubs, of which we have 4 in the UK, which cover the breadth of quantum technologies. Now, actually, if you'd like to know more about these, we do have representatives from Innovate UK. Abhinav Sharma is here from Innovate UK. We have Keith Norman, I think, in the audience, who's representing the research hubs. Geoff, I mentioned, will be stepping up on stage shortly. And also out in the area, you'll also see the Scottish Quantum Applications Cluster as well. So it's a highly active and also a very close-knit community. Oh, here we go. This is more of a photo opportunity. I mean, the businesses that are engaged in the UK cover the breadth of quantum technologies, but I'll highlight in particular the end users down the left. We have large multinational corporations that are engaged from across the different sectors. So telecoms, defence, of course, we have energy, we have financial services, we have pharmaceuticals as well, all playing an active role in the national programme. But if you look at the businesses involved, you can see across the supply chain, but also across the quantum technologies. And these are backed up by a whole variety of investors. These are the top ones, but there are many more backing up the companies. So that's a quick snapshot of the landscape. Back in March this year, the UK government announced its national quantum strategy. Now, summarising it down to its core, 4 key objectives: ensuring the UK retains its role in terms of world-leading research, being the go-to place for businesses, of course, but also driving home the use and adoption of quantum. I mean, I mentioned we have large-scale end users actively engaged in the programme, but of course what we want to do is lower the barrier to engagement for businesses across the economy as well. And then finally, creating the right sort of regulatory framework that both encourages innovation, enables international collaboration, but also makes sure we go about this in a responsible fashion as well. So what's currently in planning at the moment? Well, there's work around R&D and skills. We all know that skills up and down the life cycle is important. The business support, adoption, which is part of the role of the National Quantum Computing Centre, in computing anyway. Regulation, I have mentioned. Regulation in this instance is quite a broad heading. It includes standards. I mentioned responsible innovation, so core principles about that, things like export controls as well. And also fundamental as international partnerships. The UK is very much open to collaborating internationally. We have a number of partnerships already announced. The UK government does. The USA, of course, has done it. Canada, the Netherlands most recently, and there are a few more in the pipeline. But what this is really coming to a head, though, is the recently announced quantum missions. So this was in what we call the autumn statement, an announcement, sort of budgetary announcement from the government only a month ago. And this was identifying a core set of quantum missions to help drive the program further. So 5 of these, one in quantum computing, and that's a 10-year mission. Well, you can read that. Another one in quantum networking. Now, my background is in networking, so I was quite pleased to see that. Buried in that is, in fact, a milestone in about 5 years to deliver a quantum secure communications network across the UK. And then, because you can't pin sensing down, we have 3 quantum missions around sensing. One is ensuring this technology can be deployed within the health environment. We already have startups that are working on that as well, and so this mission is about really pushing on that. Second is navigation systems. Earlier we heard the gentleman from Northrop Grumman talking about the importance of navigation, alternative navigation systems. So quantum is clearly important in that, and that includes quantum clocks. And then finally, networked quantum sensors with, for example, sort of critical national infrastructure and utility infrastructure, not just point sensors, but how can we network those sensors together? So those are the UK's 5 quantum missions. They will be planning and delivering these over the next 10 years. It'll be over the next few months that we actually work out what the plans are to do that. So that's a quick snapshot of the strategy. A quick advert for something that UK government operates, which is the Global Talent Network for individuals looking to work in the UK. The UK government, and you can see the email address there, is happy to help individuals introduce them into the UK's ecosystem. Similarly, they help UK businesses develop the right sorts of networks to find people as well. Now, at this point, we're going to talk about the National Quantum Computing Centre. So I'm going to invite Geoff to seamlessly step up. Now, I know Tim didn't ask him what his hobby was, so...
Right, okay. So, yes, you didn't ask me what my hobby was, but fortunately, mine's brewing as well. So, obviously, how have we managed to spend so much time together already, Jonathan, without knowing that we have that in common? So, I'll look forward to a chat, perhaps over a beer a bit later. So, yes, thank you very much, Jonathan, for that introduction. My name is Geoff Barnes. I represent the National Quantum Computing Centre. That is a newly established national lab in the UK. Oh, do I need a clicker or something? All right, which is the magic button? Just the right one. Yeah, the right one. Okay, so just a couple of slides from me to give you a bit of a flavour of why we exist and what we're up to. So the purpose of the National Quantum Computing Centre is really to address the challenge of scaling quantum computing, right? Why we're all here today, no doubt. The UK doesn't have a sort of IT major in the way that other countries do, and one of the gaps that we aim to bridge is to do some of that early de-risking work and drive forward the technology roadmap for the UK. So what's the strategic intent? So we're here to provide assurance to government and others. We're a sort of trusted authority in the UK. We're here to catalyse the supply chain. In the UK, we have fantastic photonics, fantastic cryogenics, and other companies involved in that, which we all, I guess, expect to be a big part of the quantum computing solution. Focus the development, so we like to class ourselves as the custodians of the technology roadmap for quantum computing in the UK. That's, you know, it's owned by us all in the ecosystem. We're a close-knit ecosystem, but we sort of help guide that and shape it moving forward. It obviously enhance the skills, that's a common theme everywhere, accelerate that scaling, and also, critically, right, drive the user adoption to make sure that the UK and companies in the UK, organisations are ready to start using this, right? Our director often says if we had a working quantum computer with however many qubits you want in the room right now, you know, how many people could actually do anything with it? So our, really, all of that culminates in building around 3 key pillars for the National Centre. One is the technology readiness, so we have technical teams that we've recruited and are building superconducting qubit platforms, trapped ion platforms, and cold atom tweezer array platforms, test beds for those. But we are looking across the whole landscape for quantum computing. That means we need to be experts and understand what's happening in photonics, what's happening in diamond, etc., etc. We're actually building the physical lab as well. So in the Harwell site at the Rutherford Appleton Laboratory in South Oxfordshire, we have a 4,000 square metre building that now actually looks like that artist's rendition. We should get the keys for that shortly after Christmas, and commissioning will start soon after that in the new year. And we will be driving forward with building hardware, control systems, etc. In that building. And then the final piece of the puzzle is that workforce readiness, building that UK community, being the glue, if you like, to stick that together, supporting the skills development and building the workforce for the future. So Technology Missions Fund is something that we've been doing over the last 12 months or so, not the missions that Jonathan mentioned, which is the new government generic missions, but this was a Technologies Missions initiative that we've been working on to drive forward with the goal of demonstration of NISC-era quantum advantage, ensuring end-user adoption and economic value. So what have we been doing? Well, there's a flavour here. So £6 million gone into an academic research grant to support software-enabled quantum computation projects. We did an £8 million Innovate UK application feasibility studies project, or grant call, that's led by industry critically. We've put more money in accelerating our own NQCC, National Quantum Computing Centre, Spark program, which is our way to engage with the user community. And then more recently, we've just closed out, and we should be awarding very shortly, have awarded and announced early in the new year, a 30 million fund into the development of testbed platforms for user access. So just diving quickly into that last one, because I think it's of great interest here. This is to put co-located at the National Quantum Computing Centre a range of different testbeds with different modalities, based on different modalities for evaluating and benchmarking of performance activities. It's to drive a sort of twin track approach with our in-house development and complement that. We are developing new processes, we're de-risking user adoption, etc. And then we're evaluating the sort of cost timeline, the performances. And critically, this is about government not only being a funder, but also a customer and a user as well. So my slide seems to have gone very bizarre at the bottom there, but I shall summarise the zeros, ones, twos, the threes and fours. So where are we with that? So there's January the 2nd, there's a 15-month build period of these test beds where a number of companies will come in, they'll have personnel on site at the lab, they'll be bolting together bits and pieces and setting up the test beds. That will last for 15 months. And then post that activity, there'll be a kind of 2-year research program, which we're designing and shaping now. And we'll have a stable, if you like, of quantum computing testbed access. Oh, there we go. Okay, so last slide for me. There's a lot of text on this slide, but effectively engagement with the NQCC. We are there hosting events. We are providing funding support, either directly or with our colleagues at places like Innovate UK. We obviously are putting out some funding into fellowships, etc. We're a collaborative organisation. The building will hold around 120 people, and we expect something like 80 or 90 people as solid state staff. So there's plenty of room for people to come and collaborate with us at the NQCC, and including any interest from beyond our shores. We've got the piece to do on training. This is obviously about more than just sort of the PhD type training, where we have courses that we're co-funding with University of Bristol, but also about the sort of professional development courses that you can do online, guided learning. And then we're looking at the technical challenges. We're providing access to third-party quantum compute, then we're obviously trying to support and build the ecosystem. So that's it from me, but thank you very much for your time. If you want to engage with the National Quantum Computing Centre, please come and find me or get in contact with one of my colleagues. Thanks very much.
So one final thing, if you'd like to meet some of the people, meet myself, meet Geoff and some of the others, then the UK is holding a reception at 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon in the networking area. I'm not entirely sure where the networking area is, but it can't be far away from here. So you are all invited. Thank you.
Well, we have a few minutes for questions. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, thank you. So I want to go back to the first presenter and ask you, could you elaborate a little bit on what do you mean by the implementation specifically of this responsible research and innovation principles into this space? How do you assess their whether or not they're accomplished or institutionally stabilized, and through what requirement, like, do you require people to have them through some kind of application when they apply for funding or stuff like this?
So yes, I mean, thank you very much for that one. This is a developing topic. I mean, from my personal perspective, from my members' perspective, I'm looking to make sure that we have practical guidelines on what principles they can adopt within their businesses. So a declaration, if you like, about how they're going to undertake their work, who they're going to be prepared to work with. The reason for that is, I guess it's self-evident. We have seen what can happen with technologies. We saw this play out with AI. There was quite a few years as people were trying to work out what does it mean to be responsible, be ethical. I think we've probably learnt enough about the generics of that, certainly from large industries' point of view, and the likes of BT and BP and others have developed responsible technology principles. So really it's about taking those, for me, it's about taking those and making them accessible for quantum businesses. That's really what it is. But I do expect that there will be expectations from governments that the industry can demonstrate that it is doing that.
Okay, we have time for one more question, if anyone has one. Yeah, sorry.
See nothing.
Hello, my name is Hao Ting. I'm from E3 Taiwan. I have a question about the two-phase roadmap for the quantum computing center. Would you mind to elaborate a little bit about, what is the scope and what is beyond 2027, especially? I'd like to hear some vision. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for the question. So the first 15 months that I pointed out is very much just the build phase. So this is a kind of a procurement for innovation services. So that first 15 months will literally be about bringing stuff together, innovating the way these things are constructed before they can be utilized. So the second phase of the sort of 2-year program is what we currently see as being probably the most valid timeline for the use of those test beds. That's not to say that they won't go on to be used after that activity, but we can't be sure about the relevance, I guess, that they will have. Beyond then, we'll have our own quantum computing test beds that we will have been developing in-house. We'll have no doubt an ever-growing, stable or more deep third-party access to quantum compute as well. And we certainly hope that there'll be a next phase, if you like, of that sort of testbed program sort of rolling forward, going forward.